Common Senser, and thank you so much for watching today's video. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Common Sense Mamita. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing my very own producer. Please help me welcome Vincent Smith. So let's go to the other platforms. Like, what would the second biggest platform be?
Instagram, for sure. Instagram is a social media platform where the main content that you post on Instagram is pictures along with captions. It becomes a very visual form of social media. It makes me personally be very image conscious about what I post. Because Instagram has changed over the years with the invention of other social media sites, it has become more of a place where you house beautiful content as opposed to raw posts about yourself that are not so pre-produced or pre-planned. Mm-hmm. So for instance, I might be more lax on Snapchat than I am on Instagram. I might film a whole Snapchat story and take the top 5 and put those 5 snaps on my Instagram story. And it then becomes more of a pre-produced form of social media.
So it's a higher content visual
yes.
on Instagram than it is on Snapchat.
Yes, and I think that's because since it is a picture app, of course photographers are going to flourish on there. Mm-hmm. So that's why the most popular people are the ones who know how to take pictures. That then raises the bar for everyone else who uses it, because not that you should compare yourself, but if you do see something great, you might want to also make yourself great as well.
And to add to that, the great thing about Instagram are the filters, the boomerang app. So that even if you're not a great photographer, if you play with those filters and or get some apps that are photography based, mm-hmm. that have graphics and things of that nature, mm-hmm. you can create a really nice visual post. Like RIPL is a great app, Visco, VSCO, PICSPLAY is another great app where you can mix photo, filter, and words. Fonts to it. There are a lot of great apps.
Yes.
There's a lot of great apps.
Yeah, InstaSize is also a good one. I use that to make sure that my photos are sized right for Instagram. And then I also use Camera Plus a lot because they have a lot of filter options that are great.
And Camera Plus is specific to the iPhone.
Camera Plus is specific to the iPhone, yes. And it's not free, but it's worth the money.
Yes. We covered Facebook, Instagram. Let's talk about Twitter.
Twitter is a very interesting social media because it came at a time when Facebook was popular, but not as popular as it is now. And it also came before Instagram, and Instagram has surpassed it. But Twitter has really maintained itself, I think, because it provokes thoughts. People who excel on Twitter are typically writers. They're people who can craft a short message and make it resonate to a lot of people. For instance, my cousin is a writer, and she was an English major, which is why I think she does so well on Twitter. But Twitter is very different because it's conversation-based. And you
only have 140 characters to make your point.
Exactly. So there is no Facebook rants on Twitter. You just don't have the space. They did do this update now where you can reply to yourself and make a conversation to yourself, which I think was perfect for Twitter. But it's shorter thoughts.
And that's why the president works so well on Twitter, because he can only think of 140 characters.
Absolutely. He works really good with the punchline, but substance, I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's not good with a long, but give him one sentence. He excels in that one sentence.
But I will say that I always tell my clients Twitter is going to be the place where you see the least amount of activity, impressions, likes, retweets, because it's not as easy to find people on Twitter as it is Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, you can use up to 30 hashtags. On Facebook, these are people that have known you since probably age 4, all the way up to people who Google you and found your Facebook page. And so with Twitter, it's just designed differently so that it's harder for people to just randomly pop up on your page. And that's why it's harder to get success on Twitter than it is other platforms.
As an actor or someone in the business, if you, the beautiful thing about Twitter is that you can check out someone who you admire and then look and see who they follow and then follow them. And that's how you find, I think that's how you do a better job of finding people.
Yes.
Is to connect with those people that are either your friends, your colleagues, your peers in the business, and then look and see who they're following and then follow them.
Exactly.
You know, and the good thing about Twitter is that they allow you to create lists. So let's say you wanted to follow casting directors. You can actually make a list just casting directors. So when you click that list of casting directors, that's the only feed that comes up on your Twitter account.
Yes. And lastly, on Twitter, though I have found less success with Twitter as far as retweets and impressions, it is very important for every business to have it because it's just the accessibility thing. You know, your customer might love Twitter and hate Facebook, so you can't just be on Facebook and not on Twitter. Everything is about the people that you serve, and if the people that you serve love Twitter, then you need to be on Twitter, and you need to be accessible. I personally use it as a landing page. I do make sure it's updated, but I usually just post links to things that I'm promoting. The reason why I use Twitter as a landing page as opposed to a primary social media platform is because I am one person and I just literally don't have the time. And so I would love to curate a beautiful plan for my Twitter, which I probably will soon, but for now it's a landing page because I believe in using social media as a system. That way you don't have to think about it. So what I do is I use Hootsuite, and I make sure...
And what is Hootsuite?
Hootsuite is a service that tweets for you or posts for you, not just on Twitter, but on Facebook, Instagram.
So it schedules the posts for you?
Yes, it schedules the posts for you.
For all the platforms, or?
It schedules the posts for most platforms and posts them automatically. However, with Instagram, it does alert you when to post it. It does not post for you on Instagram.
So it'll post Facebook and Twitter.
Absolutely.
And
there are other ones.
WordPress?
You can do WordPress too, yes.
Okay. And WordPress is another service.
There's a whole, yes, they have a list of platforms that they are connected to. But Hootsuite allows you to schedule things in advance. That way you don't have to worry about it on the day of, which is the crux of my business because this is what I do for people.
Wonderful.
And so with Twitter, if you go to my Twitter, it will be updated probably today. Well, actually, I do it 5 times a week. So on Monday, it will be updated next. And it'll have a link to my Facebook. Right now, that's what it's linked to.
Oh, okay.
But I use it as a landing page, so if people come to the page, it's updated, but I don't use it primarily just because I don't love it personally.
Okay. What about Snapchat?
Snapchat, I absolutely love, and I'm so sad because I think it's going to die soon.
Is that because Instagram has kind of jacked what they do?
Definitely.
And done a better job of it?
Yes, and the only reason why it's a better job is because the app is more accessible. I mean, you took Facebook, which is probably it is the biggest social media right now, which bought Instagram, which has upgraded Instagram to almost Facebook status. And it just sadly kind of left Snapchat to just die in the wind.
Do you think that's because it started doing Instagram stories?
Definitely. Stories was the start of that. I love Snapchat, but the reason why I love Snapchat is because I'm a producer. I'm visual. I think it's great that you can make a whole story from the palm of your hand without using cameras like this and editing software. You can use your own filters, put the times, change the music. I mean, you can essentially make a film in real time. Yeah, and in real time as well. And that's what I think is great about it. Only in LA do we live in a world of filmmakers. The rest of the world is not, this is not the norm for the rest of the world. And so I think that as far as accessibility for others, Instagram wins because not everyone's a filmmaker.
Okay, and we mentioned WordPress.
WordPress is very important to me. I suggest it to every client. They don't always take it, but it's like when you repost a Huffington Post article that's really informational, except you wrote it and it's from your business. And so I think that increases the value to your customers because it makes you even more of an authority because you wrote the whole post, you wrote the whole article, and it came straight from your business's mouth.
So with that being said, there's also TUMBLR, which is can that be like what WordPress does? Can you do that on TUMBLR?
TUMBLR is a little different. TUMBLR is more visual than written.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So usually people scroll through Tumblr to look at pictures,
Oh, okay.
as opposed to WordPress where there's something to read.